Hello garden lovers! Today we are going to finish up the garden tour of our main garden area. If you missed the first part, it's about a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago. I'll attach it in the upper right hand corner here for you to check out. We went through, basically, I'll just do a quick 360. We haven't gotten to that area yet. That's what we're going to get to today. But we went through these first beds where we're growing lots of tomatoes. We shared the seed packet information of the tomato varieties that we're growing. And when you check out that video, you're going to see a devastated grapevine from the grape leaf skeletonizers. And here, a week and a half later, you can see here all this new growth. So now that the baby birdies have left the nest, I'll be able to keep on top of those turkeys with some neem oil and Bronner soap. It's very effective with those guys, and it's not too late to get some bunches of grapes off that plant. As I mentioned in our last video, we are growing east of Corona near Lake Matthews. It's a hot deserty climate, but we are also about 1,800 feet above sea level, so we get the really low lows, like upper 20s. So we get hit with quite a bit of frost, where many plants like the Thai basil, and here we have a combination of purple sweet basil, typically do not make it. But we strategically plant them in areas of the garden where they may overwinter. We do have a basil plant that overwintered last year, so it's definitely not impossible, but it does depend on the area that it's growing in. We also utilize lots and lots of shade cloths. We are going to be in the triple digits today, and as I mentioned in our last video, we pretty much skip spring and we go straight into, oh, it's a monarch. We have a bunch of baby monarchs flying around. They've been born here. And that buzzing sound, we also have a bunch of Japanese beetles, so I'm probably going to scream here in a second. Can't stand those things. So we may get 2 weeks of spring, and then we go straight into, and here is the Japanese beetle. Oh, he's trying to get me. Oh my gosh. I got to get my net. They're really honing in on our nectarine tree, and we will do a garden tour that is featuring all of our fruit trees, but the nectarine tree is just full, and we have bird netting over it. They're trying to get at that fruit desperately. These guys are the ones, you can see them flying around here. Oh, I got them. These guys are the reason why we have such a huge grub problem. If you go back to a past video on how we battle grubs, the massive amount of grubs in our raised beds is because of those dudes. Can't stand them. But the nematodes really got them under control. All right, so since we go straight into the 90s just about, we have to get the shade cloths up around June, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to grow any big beautiful slicers because of blossom drop due to the extreme temperatures. This plant is not doing so hot. This is Steakhouse, but it's getting some suckers. This whole area ended up having a lack of water issue. So the plant was really stressed out. We still have some tomatoes. I'm going to get them harvested, and there are some suckers and new growth growing, so we'll see how this plant does. We're not going to remove it yet, but we'll definitely need to get a shade cloth over it as well. And that'll help it out quite a bit. All right, so the rest of this area, you can see here we have containers in the ground. They're those whiskey buckets. Right now they're growing cantaloupe and squash. This is our second round of cantaloupe. The first round was planted in an area where they did not do so hot. We're always trying new areas of growing, and we learned this year that we will avoid that area in the future for growing cantaloupe and watermelon. But they're doing well here. And this is where our potatoes grow in the spring. Here we have lots of Italian dandelion. We're growing it everywhere because the chicks love to eat Italian dandelion. And back in this corner is a beautiful weeping Santa Rosa plum tree, but we'll save that for our fruit tree video in the near future. Back here is a sun peach tomato. Cherry tomatoes can take growing in a partial shade environment. I have not tried these guys yet, but I'll be trying them in a couple of days. And there's another Japanese beetle, darn it. All right, I just swatted him away. Ooh, there's a baby monarch. Back there is first year huckleberries. And down here, this big dead branchy looking thing is our cilantro that went into seed. Hi, buddy. So whenever we get cilantro going into seed, we place it around an area where we think it'll grow well and just shake off the seeds, let it sit there for about a week. And here we have a bunch of baby cilantro. So this branch is going to retire. This is already the second area. So we're pretty good with cilantro right now. All right, over here is a bit of a mess. This is where all of our containers are stored. And under that shade cloth, we have a lettuce experiment going on. More to come, growing lettuce in a hot desert climate. Over here, this location also suffered from lack of water. You could see these tomato plants are doing terrible. We thought this would be a good spot because it sees lots of sun in the morning hours and then is shaded in the afternoon. So good spot for cherry tomatoes to grow. But again, just like the steakhouse a few minutes ago, it experienced a water issue. So I was going to remove these plants. That's why I have a jalapeno planted. I was getting ready to remove these guys. I was just letting the atomic grapes ripen. This other one is sun gold. Didn't get around to it, and all of a sudden we have all of these beautiful suckers popping out. You can see here's the joint, and all of this is new, healthy growth. So I don't think I'm going to remove them yet, even though we got the jalapeno there growing. So I'm sure that there's going to be some root crowding, but we'll see how they do. The atomic grape does have new growth, but the sun gold is really bouncing back. All right, back over here, and we'll wrap up the main garden area. Here in this 4x4 raised bed, we got my shadow. Oh geez, let me get over here. In this bed, we're growing lots of bells. We have yellow monster, Zulu, got a sereno plant there. We have serenos growing everywhere. We eat chilies just about every day, I would say. And then this big, beautiful plant is regrowth of a purple broccoli. And actually, I hear the girls right now, I gotta get them some greens this morning. But it just keeps putting out new shoots, so we leave it and harvest some broccoli leaves for the girls. They love it. We attach it through their run, we clip it, and they tear it up all the way down to the stem. They get daily greens, and as I mentioned, could have been in the last garden tour video, but their eggs are so amazing, so delicious. Over here we have some basil growing in the window box. We have beautiful grapevine in this whiskey barrel. We have cilantro from that branch. Just place the branch on top of the soil, let it set for a while. The seeds dropped, covered it with some soil, actually just mixed around the soil. And here we have lots of cilantro growth. This container has baby asparagus, super small. We have asparagus growing everywhere. It's a fascinating veggie. You get it going, let the roots develop for about 3 years, and you have non-stop asparagus for decades, 20 to 30 years. What is it, Jet? Is it a rat? We have rats living in the fence, but we also have a tomcat that comes by and controls the rat population. Let's see if one of these grapes are ripe yet. Delicious. Leave it up to the kitty, buddy. The kitties will take care of them. Over here is our tomatillo bed. We have had lots of cucumber beetles. Last year we did not have a cucumber beetle issue. We didn't have to use our cucumber beetle lure. Would have been the first season trying that out. But this year we're seeing lots of cucumber beetles. And I broke the lure out and did not like it whatsoever. It was capturing, it's basically the sticky tape with a lure in between, and it was grabbing all kinds of beneficial insects. I was really traumatized when I saw a bee stuck to it. And it only caught one cucumber beetle. All the others I've smashed with my hands. So I removed that thing and I just come out each day and hunt them down and manually remove them. But here you can see some delicious tomatillos. We've already harvested one round, made a batch of salsa, super delicious. Our close friend has the most amazing salsa recipe that he shared with us. We're so grateful. We can't make it as good as when he makes it, but it is definitely delicious. So it's kind of a jungle over in this area. I got a lot of oregano that is in seed that I need to cut back. And we have more radicchio. Over here in this 4x4 bed, we have an amazing, huge tomato variety. This is Porterhouse. And this one is ready to harvest. Look at the size of this guy. Oh my goodness. This is a big, beautiful tomato. Do not know how the flavor is yet. First season growing this, but it's definitely a massive tomato variety. And we'll be trying this one this week. Here are more whiskey barrels buried in the ground, mostly for growing potatoes. And we have a bunch of carrots. This is a Cosmo. Pull that guy out. Lots of baby carrots growing. Just sprinkled the seeds and kind of mixed them around. And here we have baby carrots. Find the tag. These are Purple Haze. At the base of the beds, more baby arugula. More carrots. I think this is Black Nebula. Yep, Black Nebula. Ooh. Oh, broke it off. Amazing carrot variety, full of antioxidants. And more guardsmen in this bed. More chilies. We've got peppers, chilies growing everywhere. We're going to start featuring a couple of varieties each week. Share the seed packet information. It would take too long to do it in these garden tours. We're going to share all about the varieties, the heat index. So those are some future videos. Beautiful sunflowers. We did not plant any this year. These are all volunteer self-seeded. And beautiful pole beans. All right. Here we have corn. Nothing too exciting about corn. Over here is our cattle panel raised bed. You can probably hear in the background is another Japanese beetle. All right, I had to go grab my net because that dude tried to land on me. So terrible, just freaks me out. All right, so as I was saying, next garden tour video, we will be featuring the double raised bed cattle panel design, all that's growing in that area. And here is carbon. We shared the seed packet information for that variety in the last garden tour, and it's so delicious, and we have such an extended growing season that we went ahead and got some more seeds sowed. Looking forward to more carbon. Tomato is excellent, an excellent variety. Down here we have some basil. This Thai basil is a volunteer, and then this basil plant, you can see here, this part did not overwinter well, but it started growing out of the base of the plant, so it made it through our frost. And here is a volunteer tree collard. It's huge. Looks like it's about 10 feet high. Again, did not plant it. I guess the seed dropped and it's just rooted under the raised bed. You get these shoots that grow out of the trunk. We wait till they get a pretty decent size and then throw it in the chicks run. Over here we have more tree collards. Again, it's the chicks' food, so we gotta have them growing all over. Some beautiful pole beans. We're going to be planting some radicchio down there. All right, headed down this area where we're growing along the fence line. We'll leave this area for our next video when we feature our double raised bed cattle panel design. Here we have some vertical gardening. We shared a video on this design. Very similar to the ones that you see, just with some different poles, a little more decorative. Right now we are growing some watermelon, and the next crop to go in here will be peas, snap peas. We also have some beans, more pole beans. Over here is a struggling lemon tree. Again, we're going to do a garden tour that features all of our fruit trees, so I'll skip that for now, but we have figured out the problem. It's doing much better. And here, some asparagus. Asparagus is so beautiful. This is third year asparagus. It's doing much better now. It got buried under a bunch of mulch last season, so it wasn't coming up well. We got it uncovered, and now it's doing great. So lots of baby asparagus as well, and in between the asparagus we have young blueberry bushes. So it's going to be super fun to have blueberries growing all along this fence line. Blueberry bushes don't typically do well in the high temperatures, but this area is strategic. It's planted because in the afternoon it sees shade. So at the hottest time of the day, this whole fence line is shaded. So it works out really well for blueberry bushes. More asparagus. This plant kind of looks odd. It's very young and it's going to climb up this pole, and it's more food for our hummingbird family. More blueberry bushes, some lavender, and over here we have succession planted our cucumbers, and we have a bunch of Malabar spinach starting out. The Malabar loves the heat. It could take it, but it does fine in this area in the shade in the afternoon high temp hours. So this bed has lots of peanuts. This will be our first year roasting peanuts. Very excited about that. And we have a couple of cucumber varieties growing. I'm really loving the Bait Alpha. And here's the seed packet information. These guys perform great in the greenhouse. They don't require pollination to set fruit. Excellent variety to grow. It's one of our favorites now. All right, we'll head over here. This area has been slow to develop. Back there is our banana trees. And last season, this container grew red Malabar spinach. And you can see here, there is a ton of red Malabar spinach growing. But we did not plant that this year. What we did plant here was kiwis. We moved our kiwi vines from over by the blueberry bushes and transplanted them here because the vines, let me see if I could get, here we go. The vines weren't doing so well. They were burning the leaf section, the new growth, because the afternoon heat was too intense. So we figured let's move them over here because this area at about 1 o'clock on is shaded, and the kiwis are doing so much better. They're actually everywhere in here, but it's hard to see. There's so much Malabar spinach growing. And the Malabar just popped up from all the seeds that dropped in the container from last season. And man, it is so beautiful. So it's going to be really lovely watching the red Malabar twist along the kiwi vines. So in a couple of months, this should look really, really beautiful. It's just starting to get going. But still lots to do in this area. We want it to kind of be tropically, which is difficult because of the extremely low temps that we get. As I mentioned, I think in the last video, our lows get to the upper 20s, so we'll never have bananas because the bananas come out in January, I believe, and that's when we're having our frost period. So the plants, the banana plants, die back, unfortunately. But thankfully, they come back each season and give us beautiful banana leaf foliage in this section of the garden. All right, gonna wrap this video up. We will be moving over to the cattle panel area in the next garden tour. I love seeing all of the incredible creations around the garden. Here we have some super cute little praying mantis. This guy, he's got some stripes. I haven't seen him that color before. Super beautiful. And here's another one. He's having some breakfast. Super fascinating. I love this creation. remember, something doesn't come from nothing. All right, I hope you guys enjoy your week and enjoy your garden.